Hey guys, it's Frank from Cruising with Wheels. Do you remember the TV show, Kids Say the Darndest Things? Well, on this cruise, we had some adults say some crazy things and some that said some heartwarming things. Find out in this episode who said what in my new Tales from the High Seas. Now, the first story I want to talk about is we were in Bar Harbor. And, of course, that is a tender port that I could not go in. Just saying. Feel jaded. But that's the way it is. Now, they were making announcements all morning about arriving in Bar Harbor and, about the tender boat procedures and all of that. And you know that on a cruise ship, most of the time English is not everyone's first language. So there's a lot of accents going on when you're talking about Bar Harbor. And so what happened was there actually was a guest on board who lived in Bar Harbor. I mean, seriously, she lived in Bar Harbor, but she got to the port of New York to board the ship to do the New England-Canada cruise, of which one of the stops was Bar Harbor, her hometown. I mean, can you imagine? She tender boated in to her own town. She probably went to check on the cats. I don't know. But anyways, Kevin had gone to the buffet to grab some morning breakfast and bring it back to the cabin. That's one of the mornings he did that. So he gets to the buffet and they're making an announcement about Bahaba. And so, a lot of people have like this woman obviously had a New England accent. People don't say Bar Harbor, it's Bahaba. But anyway, so he gets there, and when you arrive in the buffet, you have the crew members who are there, welcome, 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 and then maybe they're singing the Washy Washy song, and all that, and they're welcome, we're in Bar Harbor, we're in Bar Harbor today, we're in Bar Harbor today, welcome, whatever. So anyways, they're usually, doing their little performance. So this woman goes up to the crew member, and she says to him, she goes, and I'm going to try to quote it as best I can. She goes up to the crew member and she says, "Listen, you little monkey, I like your little monkey dance, but it's not Bahaba, it's Bahaba." And Kevin was standing there going, huh? And I don't know whether he was horrified at her reference to his little monkey dance, or the fact that she was saying the same thing. It's not Bahaba, it's Bahaba. He was like, what? What did she say? Yeah, that was really, really freaky. So that was one of the things that kind of caught our attention of, what do they say? The next one was we went to dinner, and I think it was in one of the restaurants. Maybe it was in Taste. It was for dinner, and the hostess brought us to the table. And now, normally, I'm used to being asked the question of, is he going to sit in the chair? Because they want to know, am I going to get on my wheelchair and sit in the chair, or should they remove the chair and I'm just rolling up to the table and stay where I am, which is kind of what I usually do. It's just too arduous in the middle of all of this for him to try to get me up and do this transfer back and forth. Not worth it. So anyways, but instead of her saying, will he be sitting in the chair, she said something like, would you like me to get you out of that wheelchair? Or how can I get you out of there? I'd like to get you out of that wheelchair. And it kind of struck me as funny. And I started laughing, and I was like, oh, honey, if you could perform that miracle, I would be so grateful. And then she kind of looked at me, and she started laughing, and we both were cracking up. And I said, no, I'm sorry. I said, no, I won't be sitting in the chair. I said, I'll kind of stay where I am. But she kind of like, because they kind of don't sometimes think about what they say, but very innocently, but it just struck me as funny because it usually 99% of the time it's, will he be sitting in the chair as they are holding it, ready to either leave it or pull it back and move it. And it was like, can I get you out of that chair? And I thought, oh, honey, if you could do that, I would be so eternally grateful for any miracle you could provide for me. And we all ended up, it was really funny. But the really really heartwarming story that I want to tell you about was when we went to see one of the shows, and we got there early and rolled in. We were on the left side of the theater and rolled right into the wheelchair corral, which can hold 6 wheelchairs, and it's usually set up automatically when you get there with 6 regular, what I call living room chairs, which, Kevin is eternally grateful. So he takes the first one and he moves it out of the way to the back, and I roll into the first spot, and he says, all right, I'm going to sit next to you. Here, put your bag on the chair to hold it for me so nobody takes it. I need to go to the bathroom. Now you just usually what I hear from him. You all know Kevin has the bladder of a 3-year-old. Enough said. So off he goes toddling. So I'm sitting there and I got my journal out and it's still a little lit, but it's not that bright, but it's not dark enough like when the theater lights go totally dark where I can't see. So I'm kind of making some notes. I'm noting the time we got here and kind of finishing up from dinner. What we had before we really get into the show, writing down what the show is. Now, as I'm doing this, people are coming into the corral, and I can see, peripheral vision here that it's a few more wheelchair and scooter people, and I see someone moving chairs out of the way, and I'm really kind of not paying attention, whatever. And finally, Kevin comes back, and he sits down, and I'm like, a few more minutes we'll be starting, and and he's like, anything happening? And I go, no, not really. So he, as Kevin usually does, he starts talking to the people, right? So he's talking to the lady next to him, and she's in a wheelchair. And I'm kind of glancing as I hear, because I'm noticing he's talking, so I do my usual, what's going on? So he's talking to her. And then I see a gentleman sitting next to her. I'm assuming it's her husband. And then I see a young man sitting in a motorized wheelchair. And I'm going to assume it's her son. He's busy yakking away. So let me tell you how the conversation went. So Kevin is talking to her, and she's telling him that this is our first cruise, and we didn't know whether we'd be able to do it or not because, I find myself now in a wheelchair. I spent my life as a teacher. I'm now in a wheelchair, and as you can see, here's my son, Vincent, and his whole life has been in a wheelchair. And we didn't know whether we could do this or not. But, we've been watching these YouTube videos, and we've been watching these 2 guys who have this YouTube channel, and it's all about cruising with disabilities. And they show cabin tours and ship tours and what goes on in the ports. And they're really, really great, and they've given us so much information. So Kevin's looking at her, and he's listening to all this. He goes, do you mean cruising with wheels? And she goes, yes! Do you watch them too? And he goes, we are Cruising with Wheels. And she went, he goes, I'm Kevin and this is Frank. And the lady's like, oh my God, it is you. Oh my God, Ross, Vincent, it's Kevin and Frank, Cruising with Wheels, the YouTube channel we watch. And they're like, now again, you know, it's dimly lit in the theater, right? But it's not dark. But yeah, you know, people recognize us right away, and some people don't. But it was so funny and heartwarming. I want to show you a picture because, you know, we took pictures of them, and it was really, really, really awesome to meet them, and heartwarming to hear that they were following us on YouTube, that they didn't think that they could, you know, do a cruise with two of them in wheelchairs, but that they decided to take the leap because, you know, they felt comfortable that if they saw us doing it and we could do it, that they could do it too. So here they are. And it was such a pleasure to meet them and learn all about them and get their pictures and just add them to the list of wonderful cruisers that we met along the way. So, so happy that you became part of our cruising experience. So that comes to an end of this video. They said, what? Because you never know who you're going to meet. You never know what you're going to hear. Could be good, could be bad. So I want to invite you to join me next week for another episode. And I want to remind all of you that if you're not regular subscribers to our YouTube Cruising with Wheels, that you click that subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. And remember, on Facebook, I also have a special cruising group called Cruise Chat. Click to join. There's over 2,000 members willing to share their cruising experiences with you. So, on behalf of Kevin and myself, remember to always travel safe and cruise often.